Welcome everyone to a brand new video, a video that I think will blow your mind and will definitely blow my mind, that I'm so excited to record and you guys are going to want to check this out. As you guys know, I love Pokemon. I've been playing it all the way since Gold and Silver on the old Game Boy, and Pokemon Go has been crazy over the last year. But as a Pokemon fan, I think something you always think of, or at least I have always thought of, is wouldn't it be amazing if Pokemon were real and actually lived out in the wild and you went and caught them with Pokeballs? That's not quite happening yet. Pokemon Go is probably the closest thing we've gotten to that. I think the next step will be a VR Pokemon game. If that happens, I am never leaving that world. But the closest we're probably going to get is actually going to be this video. So I've come across this amazing artist. His name is Joshua Dunlop, and he's actually living here in the UK in London. And he has gone out of his way to recreate Pokemon as they would look if they were actually real-life creatures in the real world. It sounds crazy. Let me just show you his little page here over on ArtStation. You can see a Mewtwo in the background. That's going to give you an idea of the quality and the amazing artistic skills that we're going to be seeing from him as we take a look at 10 real-life Pokemon that Joshua has actually drawn, and it is going to be insane. Now, as you know, a lot of Pokemon are based off of animals. Pikachu is actually an electric mouse. Poliwag, for example, is actually a little tadpole. All of the Pokemon, and especially the original 151, are very closely resembling animals, but in an accentuated, crazy way, often incorporating elements like electric, fire, and water. So we're going to be going through these 10 Pokemon, having a look how they look in the game, and then having a look at Joshua's drawing and seeing just what an amazing, incredible, mind-blowing job he's done. If you guys want to see even more of these, give it a big fat thumbs up. I'll link all of Joshua's stuff down below in the description so you can go and check it out and praise him yourself, because he's an amazing talented person. And without further ado, let's jump into the first Pokemon. So guys, the first real life Pokemon we're going to be checking out is Geodude, basically a bodybuilding rock. Pretty crazy, right? What on earth would a real life Geodude look like? Well, bear in mind how he looks in the anime and how he looks in the Pokemon game, and now let's take a look at Joshua's drawing. Bam! Holy cow poop on earth. This literally looks like I could go into a desert and see a real life Geodude. You guys know this is going to be impressive, right? So this guy literally has moss on his arms. He is literally corroding away in certain bits because obviously he is a rock, and his eyes look a lot more menacing than they do in the anime, that's for sure. He's even got his two little nostrils, his huge open mouth, and I feel like, especially knowing how strong he turns into with Geodude, Graveler, and then finally Golem, this guy, you don't want to annoy him and you do not want to mess with him. Luckily, because of his element, you're probably only going to find him in like deserts and very rocky mountains, so the likelihood of actually coming across him if he was put into real life isn't hugely high, but if you did, you would not want to cross him. Now, these images have been put together from him using 3D programs, rendering programs, and finally Photoshop, and I'll show you an example of all the stages that he actually does to put them together, because it is so impressive. I mean, look at him, absolutely nuts. Unfortunately, he hasn't done the rest of the evolution line, only Geodude has been done, but like you can even see reflections in his eyes, and I think if I'm a betting person, it almost looks like he is in the desert. I feel like, I know he could be in the mountain, I feel like he's located in the desert, and this guy's on a mission to eat some rocks, get even bigger, get even bulkier, and evolve into Graveler. Absolutely amazing. Next up, we've got Bulbasaur, one of the original Gen 1 starting Pokemon. Everyone loves Bulbasaur. Technically, relating him back to an animal, he is a frog, like a jungle frog or a forest frog with like a plant growing on the back of him. He's kind of become a host almost for the plant, the poor thing. So remember what he looks like in the anime, what he looks like in the video game, and then boom, look at this. It literally looks like this is in real life. I know I'm saying it so many times, but I just cannot believe it. This guy is literally chilling in a forest somewhere. You can see the plant growing on his back. It looks like a lettuce leaf of some sorts. Maybe you can just pull it off and start eating it. I actually think it's probably linked into his body system. So if you pulled off the lettuce on the back, you may not like that. So let's not do that. But again, the eyes are so accurate. You can see his little teeth poking down here again. And he looks I guess he does look like a frog. He reminds me a little bit more of a turtle or a tortoise in terms of its scaly skin, and it looks a little bit rougher than a frog would be. Actually, that seems to be the route that he's gone down, but it looks absolutely insane and so realistic. Now, this drawing actually comes with a few bits of concept art as well. You can see how he's refined the eyes to make them a little bit more animal-like. And you've gone down here again, you can see how he's changed the mouth and the nostril, and he's made it look a lot more like Bulbasaur, and how originally here it looked more like an animal than a Pokemon. And then right at the end here you can see the development actually of the bulb, literally, that's on the back of him, which of course is why it's called Bulbasaur. And then finally different color tests as well, so going from green, sort of bluey green, all the way to blue right at the end. I guess technically, I guess that's why he's done the color test. Bulbasaur does range from that blue to green sort of color scheme, but looking back here, I think green makes sense. It's an animal, it needs to blend in. He does have those little teeth, but I would assume he's more of a herbivore, so this guy needs to protect himself just in case someone comes along, and blending in and camouflage is going to be important, so he just looks crazy. Now next up, we actually have the evolution of Bulbasaur to Ivysaur as drawn by Joshua. As we can see, the bulb in his back actually starts to bloom, and you actually get a little bit of color in there. Those teeth definitely start to come down, become a little bit more prominent. He's looking a little bit meaner, a little bit bigger, definitely a little bit tubbier as well. So bearing that in mind, let's take a look at boom. Oh, I love this. I love this. I think this is even better than the Bulbasaur personally. You can see those teeth have gotten bigger. He definitely looks meaner, and I would say the skin is a mixture between like a frog-like skin, like a turtle-like skin. I think it is definitely more like the frog, like the Pokemon is meant to be. And you can see that the flower has blossomed. The bulb has blossomed on its back. You can see all the light reflecting off the leaves as well. And although the Bulbasaur, like, you know, you probably don't want to get in its way, this thing you definitely do not want to get in its way. And I feel like its most menacing thing is probably its weight. And if it decided just to sit on you or plop on you, that thing would be very heavy and would definitely hurt a lot. So let's not get too close to its Ivysaur, but an awesome evolution from Bulbasaur. If we take a look at this picture here, actually, of the sizes of Bulbasaur and Ivysaur, obviously Venusaur is massive, so probably that sitting on you would kill you. But Bulbasaur and Venusaur coming up to sort of like lower chest height, they're pretty big Pokemon. You don't want to get in their way. Next up, guys, we have Psyduck, a duck that has a very bad migraine problem and gets very bad headaches, holds his head a lot. The poor guy's in a lot of pain almost all the time. So how can you take that pain? How can you take that Pokemon and make him as realistic as possible? Well, bam, look at this. My man is hanging out near a waterfall, and I think you can tell just from the eyes, this guy is in a lot of pain. The poor guy, his head is just getting to him. There's too much going on in there. And I believe a Psyduck obviously is a duck. Also has that duck-billed platypus nose. Looks absolutely amazing. And it's in that traditional holding his head stance, looking very sorry for himself. I think in terms of realism, the fur and how wet it is amazing. And I think although Psyduck is just like yellow, just like a flat yellow color, the fact that he's taken in the idea of actually giving it that fur makes it really realistic. The feet look amazing. I think the eyes are trying to get across just how almost demented the poor guy is, but maybe don't look quite as realistic as some of the other ones we've seen. But I mean, you can't get more realistic than that for poor Psyduck. And to be honest with you, I think if Psyduck were real Pokemon, there would be a mass sort of medical research to try and make sure that these guys eliminate their poor migraines and headaches so that they aren't constantly in pain, the poor guys. Because you just imagine walking around the waterfall or somewhere with the river and seeing all these Psyducks in pain going, sigh, sigh. Not what we want, unfortunately. Next up, we have another evolution line, the classic Squirtle. Oh my gosh, one of my favorite starting Pokemon. I could never really decide between Squirtle and Charmander. I think I probably chose Squirtle more than Charmander, believe it or not. I was a big fan of Blastoise and Skullbash back in the original Red and Blue. So a turtle Pokemon with a very cute face. What has Josh done to it? Oh, look at this. How realistic is that? We've even got little fishes in the background there as well. His eyes and everything, it could literally be, you know what, actually, we don't spend that much time as humans underwater. I mean, sometimes we do snorkeling, sometimes we do diving, but really we kind of just leave the fishes to themselves. If water Pokemon were real, however, we would be under there. I mean, maybe this is bad though, because we'd be trying to capture them all and then maybe we'd be enslaving them. I guess that's what Pokemon is though, isn't it? I've just had the reality hit me, the fact that we are basically just enslaving Pokemon in Pokemon games. But I'm sure so many people would actually go swimming, snorkeling and diving a lot more if they knew they could bump into a freaking Squirtle but look like that. I mean, just look at the water reflecting off its skin. Like, you can even get the light coming through from the surface of the water off of its little feeties and little handies here. And then the nose, very accurate of a turtle, but also looking so much like a Squirtle. And of course, a little curled tail that we know so well and love so well for Squirtle too. Its shell is absolutely awesome, and it's got the same sort of six-pack-like pattern on its chest as well. And just like Bulbasaur, Joshua has actually gone and done the evolution of Squirtle as well, which, as we know, is obviously Wartortle. Its tail is getting a little bit bigger. It's getting a lot meaner in the face. It starts to grow those little ears as well. So how will this look? Oh my gosh, how crazy is that? Somehow even improved over Squirtle. You can see the ears, and I think one of the hardest things when drawing Pokemon Real is giving it a realistic skin surface, be it fur or shell or whatever it is. But look at those ears. It looks like those ears have literally just come out of the water and are soaking wet. You can see the fur in there as well. And I'd say it's not looking quite as mean. I think the black with a slight hint of red eyes are probably the scariest part about it. Looks like he has no soul, the poor Wartortle. But aside from that, he looks amazing. Again, the little scales on its arms as well. We can see the claws coming out as 3 little claws. And the tail is getting even bigger there, obviously soaking wet from coming out the water. But it looks absolutely amazing. And seeing the transition from Bulbasaur to Ivysaur and then Squirtle to Wartortle is crazy. Now, on top of that, he actually has a little 3D turnable video over on his YouTube channel where he actually takes the Wartortle here in 3D, can I just say, and actually shows it from different angles as well. Like, look at that. Look at that. That is real. That Pokemon are real, guys. And this guy has made them. All we've got to do is give them feelings, emotions, and somehow make them move and give them their own brain, and Pokemon will become real. Absolutely crazy. So I think this may have been the image that actually brought me to Joshua's page, was an Oddish. Oddish is quite a simple, plain-looking Pokemon, a grass Pokemon, obviously within the Pokemon series. But when you see the real-life version, you'll know why I was drawn in. Look at this. What is life? To take such a simple looking plain Pokemon and put him in this and make it look so realistic, it's crazy. He's got his little peanut-like red eyes. He has got the leaves coming out his back, which literally looks like have sprouted out of his head. And he looks like he's just loving life. Oddish is a very happy Pokemon, quite a plain, simple living Pokemon. But those leaves just look absolutely unreal. Now, I told you guys I'd show you some videos of actually him putting the Pokemon together. We've looked at the 3D turnable for Wartortle, and as amazing as this image is, and I don't want to move on from it just because it looks so realistic, he does have a video of him putting the Photoshop elements together just to show you how much in-depth detail goes into making one of these pictures. So actually, this video does have everything in it, starting from the 4D modeling of the Oddish all the way up to the Photoshop segment as well. I've actually only ever seen the Photoshop segment before as well. It just shows you how crazy it is. So if we go ahead a little bit, we can see that the Oddish is being put together. I've tried doing this for Minecraft characters. So bear in mind, Minecraft characters is literally like the most 2D simple thing you could possibly do, and it is not easy to use programs like this at all. My man is literally crafting an Oddish out of nothing. He's making a Pokemon from nothing. He's basically being Professor Oak, which is crazy. So we finish off the model, and then we eventually go to the coloring aspect of it. And this is him trying to work out, you know, how to get the lighting and which kind of background to use for it. So but we eventually get to the point we're going to put a log or put down a part of an old dead tree. And you can see that because it's 3D and 4D, we can move around. And that's not Oddish's final stance. We know that's not Oddish's final stance. So, so much goes on in terms of actually getting that right composition. And then eventually we move to the Photoshop element side of it. And this is where things get so realistic. So starting off here with the tree, blowing a little bit of background, doing his crazy Photoshop skills. And it looks great, but really to get the end result, he goes in super, super detailed. So he actually takes a real leaf in the end, warps the real leaf around the leaves on Oddish's head, and then goes ahead and does really, really in-depth, fine-tuned work on close-up bits as well, like the eye, for example, and the edges, where the edges of the Pokemon meet the background image, so it literally looks as realistic as possible. I mean, this is some next-level Photoshop here. The whole thing, the whole process is absolutely crazy until we get to that. And now you can see why it's so realistic, right? The amount of time and effort he's put into this is insane. and this is actually one of my favorite ones he's done. Next up, we have one of my favorite Pokemon, obviously the most famous Pokemon. It is Pikachu, and I've been waiting to get to this one because it is absolutely crazy. I actually wanted to get Claire on this video and for both of us to react to them at the same time, and if I decide to do this again, he draws more images, I'll definitely pull Claire in, but she's very busy at the moment. Pikachu is obviously a yellow mouse. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. So cute, iconic tail, little red cheeks where all the electric comes out of, and is absolutely adorable. So how do you take those Pokemon elements and turn it into real-life Pikachu? Bam! This is how you do it. Oh my gosh. We have the red cheeks with the electric sparks coming out of it. It looks like a nut maybe being nommed on in its mouth as well. The ears being the long Pikachu ears that we are so used to as well. And the tail, the electric Thunderbolt tail, is absolutely amazing. In fact, we've even got little markings on its back as well to represent how the real-life Pokemon Pikachu would look as well. It is crazy, crazy. This is the one I was just waiting to show you guys because I knew it'd be the one that everyone's like, wow, that is absolutely insane. And I can see why this guy is just absolutely amazing. All right, I've pulled Claire over for this one because this is one I wanted to show you guys so much. So we've been going through Pokemon, seeing what they look obviously in the anime and in the game, and then seeing this artist, what he's done with it. So this is obviously Pikachu, right? We know what Pikachu looks like.
Super cute. I love this one.
Okay, so now with that in mind, this is Pikachu in real life.
Gosh.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like,
because he's meant to be like an electric rat, but they've kind of made him more like a squirrel.
I like how you went with rat and I went with mouse.
Oh yeah, maybe it is. I think it is
similar.
mouse.
Yeah.
Like, rat. But he's kind of more like a squirrel, but
yes.
I kind of love that.
That's very true. I didn't pick up on the squirrel element, but I was saying like one of the hardest things I think is taking a flat Pokemon, because Pokemon are generally just like colors, and giving it like the fur effect, giving it all the lighting, and if you saw that in the wildlife, you could be like, oh my gosh, it looks real.
Because that's the thing, I've seen like Pokemon in real life a few times, and they usually look scary. Like they don't look very nice.
No.
Especially Pikachu. But I think they've done a really good job with him.
Absolutely crazy. Cute little eyes as well. So this is the first one we looked at was Geodude. Absolutely
it's
crazy.
kind of made it look like he could walk on the ground.
Yeah.
He's scary.
He's very, I think that's the most scary one.
Amazing.
He's absolutely crazy. And then we looked at Wartortle as well.
He's kind of a bit scary, you know.
Yeah, he's meant to be quite scary though, because if you look,
but he's so cute.
Look at Wartortle, he's quite a mean Pokemon.
He's a cutie
You like
pie,
Wartortle, don't you? And then we looked at Ivysaur as well. Looks pretty crazy.
He's cool. I like him a lot.
So cool. And then this one was Psyduck.
Oh, the poor thing.
He really went over the top on the eyes, being like just strange from all the headaches and migraines he's had.
Pokemon,
I thought
really
that,
weird.
yeah,
Misty's
really weird.
got one, hasn't?
Yeah, Misty's got one as well. So those are the ones we looked at so far. But I thought you'd really like Pikachu. So Pikachu, I think so far is one of. I think Geodude, Oddish, and Pikachu are some of the coolest we've looked at so far. Yeah, should we look at the rest of them together? Yeah. Okay, so Claire's going to stay with us for the final two. We're going to look at, first of all, Caterpie, because I know you love Butterfree.
I love Caterpie because he turns into Butterfree.
And Butterfree's one of your faves.
Yeah, I only started liking him in Sun and Moon. I just came across one and... I think when I first played Pokemon Red, Butterfree was just a bug Pokemon.
Yes.
Whereas isn't it got a fairy moveset? Or it might be a
it knows some good fairy moves, like Dazzling Gleam, I think
suddenly
it is. Yeah.
It became this like really good Pokemon. I was like, wow, I suddenly love Butterfree.
So one of your favourites. That's why I thought Claire would love to look at this one. So here we go. Look at
he's such a little
that.
cutie pie. His eye doesn't look very real, but if it's anything like regular caterpillars, that's just for show. It's not his actual eye.
That's a very good point, because it's got markings on the back, hasn't it? So that is like, I think these little like, what is it like? Antenna. There you go. Come up. And it's got a little like squeegee bit to suckers to suck onto the tree as well.
I love him.
Absolutely crazy. I love how he's blurred the background and made it look like
really tiny.
Yeah, it does. And you've got to remember, Caterpie's this tiny little thing. I think we may actually have. Yeah. So I told you guys he does the whole making from 3D development, obviously, to the Photoshop segment as well.
Oh gosh.
But you can see, yeah, literally,
I didn't realise that he makes a full 3D image.
So it's not flat, it's everything, it's 4D. Wow. So he goes in and texturizes absolutely everything. Let's see when he decides to color it as well. So he just adds the basic coloring in, and then he gets to the end point with, where is it?
This guy's amazing.
He is so talented. And it gets to the end point where he eventually has
I almost want to say that the final image doesn't quite show this to the full extent.
Yeah, I think this one's maybe a little bit too big for Caterpie, so you can see like bits that don't quite look real.
Yeah.
And then...
He's amazing.
Key shot. So he takes basically the shot that he thinks is going to be the nicest to work with. But he can move us around in a 3D environment, so he can change the angle at any point. Like see, there you go. Like he's just moving it around.
That's cool.
And then he eventually decides, okay, he's going to put it on a little tree. And then gets all the way to the point where he works in the background as well.
I wonder if that's his own photography too. I assume it must
be. Could be. Even more credit to Joshua.
Well done, Josh.
And then finally, we have like the basic colouring. And he goes around the edges as well and literally will line out the edge. So it's like a complete smooth transition between the Pokemon and the background.
Wow.
So there's no like pixelated or colour difference between the edge. And then eventually you get towards the final piece. We adds in all the leaves, puts all the blurry bits around. And then, boom, that is the final picture right there.
Amazing.
And then, absolutely crazy. The Caterpie, I like you, but maybe not the best one.
Okay, I know I like him a lot.
Okay, Claire likes him a lot. Definitely one of the best ones then, potentially. And then finally, we're going to go with Mewtwo because...
I thought it was going to be Mew at first. I was really excited.
Maybe Mew next time. Who knows? But for Mewtwo for this time, because it is obviously... the final 151 Pokemon. Wait, is Mew 151 or is Mewtwo 150?
Mewtwo isn't... Oh
I think Mewtwo's 150.
I think Mew is 151.
Yeah.
Although I think, isn't he technically 0, and that's why you get the glitch of how to get him to appear in the game. But he's Pokemon 151, I'm sure he is, and Mew is 150.
Okay,
Should we find out? Should we find out if we're real?
So, let's see.
No, 150.
Oh, you think Mewtwo's 150?
Yeah, and Mew is 151.
It doesn't make sense though, because Mewtwo's a clone of Mew, so technically they're the wrong way around. But
it's a bit of a weird one, isn't it?
It is a weird one, but also, I think probably one of the easier ones to draw because it's quite human-like in shape.
I think that's what makes it creepy, because it's very easy to draw things that are kind of not quite human, and they go into that creepy, uncanny valley territory.
And let's not forget that Mewtwo in Pokemon 3D was really creepy. He just stands like...
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was.
He was really, really scary.
He was scary.
So this is going to be the final one, the 10th one we're going to look at today, guys. So... oh my god. We killed Claire. It was so realistic.
Oh
Look at that. So actually, this is crazy. So he's been almost like detained, and you can see the scientists run away. I wonder if we can zoom in a little bit. So there we go. We can zoom in on it a little bit.
Creepy, isn't he?
So crazy.
They've kind of given him almost like a piggy kind of face.
I was going to say cat-like, but I think pig-like works as well. It's very much an animal face. Look how strong he looks as well. He's got like multiple pec muscles going down his chest as well. And the huge tail that you do not want to get in the way with.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him. No. I feel like he'd have no remorse at all.
Basically, this scientist...
He would just tear you apart, yeah.
And this scientist are dead.
Yeah, they're dead.
Those guys are not coming out of this alive.
No.
So what do you think? Very cool pictures?
Really cool. Yeah. I love them. I want them framed all around the house, except from him.
Except from the scary ones.
He will give me nightmares.
Yeah, none of that. Definitely nowhere near the bedroom. Like, we'll go for the cute ones dotted around the house, guys. Thank you for joining us for a little bit, Valve. I know you're very busy.
And Bean. Well.
Thanks, Beanie. Good girl.
Which is your favourite Eevee? Wow, I never would have guessed.
Never would have worked that out.
Yes.
No.
Ah.
So guys, unfortunately, little Eva didn't get her own little appearance in this one. But if you guys want us to go on and do it again when Claire's got a little bit more time and we can get a whole episode of Eevee reacting to herself as well, give it a thumbs up and let me know which was your favourite out of the 10 that we took a look at down below in the comment section. If I had to go for one, I think I would go with Pikachu or Geodude, the first one we looked at. The realism was just absolutely insane. I can't believe how much he nailed it. Crazy, crazy stuff. As I said, I'm going to leave links down below to all of Joshua's stuff down below in the description. I think he also has a GoFundMe page or something along those lines where you can actually give him a little bit of money to help fund all of the time and effort he puts into designing and making all these real-life Pokemon, because I think it's just a hobby he does on the side. Believe it or not, you wouldn't believe it with how crazily accurate and amazing it looks. So guys, thank you very much for joining us on this real-life Pokemon adventure. Does it make you feel like you want Pokemon to be real even more? Or does it make you think, you know what, it's a bit too weird? I think these, because of how accurate they are, makes me want them to be real even more, because he's done such an amazing job and I've never seen anyone come anywhere near close. These drawings are insane. So thank you guys, this has been 10 real life Pokemon. Make sure you're subscribing for more videos very, very soon, and I'll see you guys then. Bye bye.